Hi, good morning. I think this website you have seen already something about the chapter called sound. Now we are going to see another chapter called combustion, flame and fuels. It's going to be very interesting, a lot of activity, a lot of interesting facts that you are going to learn in this chapter. Now I want to ask you a question. Have you ever wondered what happens when you light candles and diyas on Diwali? You know that Diwali is a function and a festival we all used to celebrate, right? You used to keep a lot of diyas there. What material does actually burn there? Are you interested to know about that? Does it produce heat and light on burning it? And that is the concept which we are going to learn today. It is going to be very, very interesting. And I want you to concentrate on these concepts today. Okay? So shall we proceed further? Come, we are come and have a seat. Yeah, in this chapter, what we are going to study, the process of burning and the different zones of a candle flame and different kinds of fuels. That is all the thing that we are going to study in this chapter. A very, very important chapter, and most of the concepts are what you have been seeing in your day-to-day life. We are going to explain this concept on that basis to you. What are the various processes of burning, fuels and combustion? That's the thing that we are going to study. Now, we will talk something about combustion. Okay? Now we are going to talk about combustion. Now what do you mean by combustion? When a substance is burned in the air, it usually produces, can you tell me, when a substance is burned in air, it usually produces two things. And what are the two things, you know? One is heat, another one is light. Now you have learned in the previous classes that magnesium burns in air in the form of magnesium oxide and produces heat and light. And you must have written the chemical equation for that also. Similarly, if charcoal burns in air to give carbon dioxide and heat, and it is quite obvious that you also know that coal too burns in air producing carbon dioxide, heat and light. Now, combustion is a process of burning a substance in the presence of air or oxygen with the liberation of heat and light. Let me repeat once again, it is a process of burning a substance in the presence of air or oxygen with the liberation of heat and light. And what do you mean by this combustion? Whether you can see this combustion, all these things that we are going to see in the lab now. What do you mean by combustion, and what are the various types of substances available, and what are the conditions necessary for combustion? I think we will go to the lab and see more details about combustion. Thank you. A rocket uses a propulsion system to generate a mighty thrust so as to probe it upward. Now, how is this thrust generated in a rocket? Very important thing you all need to understand. I request you to see the URL connection which is given in the web page to see how the rocket is moving up and how this thrust is generated. The thrust in the propulsion system is generated through power, and the power comes from a burning fuel. Now we are going to see something about the fuel, right? We have seen about what do you mean by combustion and how a rocket is working and how a thrust is generated in the rocket. Now more explanation regarding that you can see the URL which is given in the web page. Now you know that I am going to tell you about a very, very interesting experiment we are going to see in the lab. Before we see the experiment in the lab, we need to know the fire triangle. What do you mean by the fire triangle? And this fire triangle is very, very essential for the process of combustion. Now, I am going to explain this fire triangle to you, then we can go and do the experiments in the lab. Come on, I will take you to the lab. Now, this is a lab which we are going to see. And this lab, we are going to do a number of experiments based on combustion. Yes, can we all proceed to the lab, please? I am going to talk to you something about fire triangle base I have oxygen, which is nothing but the supporter of combustion. The supporter of combustion. Now you see, this is a fire triangle actually. Now triangle have three sides. The first one is called the oxygen. The oxygen is the supporter of combustion. And the second one is heat. Heat is nothing but the ignition temperature. And the third one is a fuel. That is the combustible substance. So if you want combustion to take place, these three are very, very important factors. Number one, fuel. Number two, oxygen. Number three, heat. These three factors are very, very important for combustion to take place. And as I mentioned to you earlier, I am going to explain in our laboratory three experiments which proves that, which tells you how these three factors are important for the combustion to take place. And this triangle is called the fire triangle. And this triangle will help you to understand about the concept of combustion. We will go to the lab and see now how these three factors involved in the process of combustion. Okay? See the first factor which is responsible for the combustion. So this is a burning candle. I am going to cover this candle with the help of this flask. I want everyone, you are expected to observe and see what will happen. Now it's very important if you see this, and let me also see this, what will happen. Have you seen that? And it is amazing. And can anyone tell me which factor is responsible? Because the light gets off. And you are right. The factor which is responsible out of these three factors, which is responsible for this behavior is oxygen. Now this experiment tells you that without oxygen, the combustion will never take place. And for combustion, oxygen is very, very important. Now let me show you the second activity. What I am going to do, I am just going to pour a drop of water on the top of the wick. Now what I am going to do, I am going to light this lamp with the help of this matchstick. You see? The light is not coming because of the only reason the water absorbs heat. The next factor is heat. The water absorbs heat. So this is the second factor. So the heat is responsible for this. So now we will go to the third factor. What is responsible for the combustion? The third factor we are going to see in our next experiments. Come, let us see the third factors. Now this third one, you can see the candle is glowing. I am just going to put this candle, moving candle, inside this dish which contains water. Now I want you to observe this one. You can see what will happen to this flame. You can see there is no flame. Right? When there is no fuel, the third one, the combustible substance is fuel. When there is no fuel, actually there will not be no combustion will take place. And you can do the same thing with the help of the spirit lamp also. You take the spirit lamp and you allow the spirit lamp to glow. After some time, you remove all the spirit from the spirit lamp, then you light the spirit lamp, and what will happen? The spirit lamp will not glow because of the process of combustion. Because here the combustible substance is a fuel, which is also very, very important. Now I'm talking to you about this candle and this combustion, and what are the factors responsible for the combustion to take place. And you have been observing this candle. And how many of you observe this candle, glowing candle in your home? Hardly. Just we see the candle. What is the use of this candle? It just used to remove the darkness from the room, or darkness from our heart. Now what I am going to show you, I am going to light a candle. I am going to tell you that how a candle beautifully looks like. You see, I want you to see this glowing candle, not only from your eyes, but from your heart. Now my dear children, you open your heart and see the glowing candle, and what is the basic phenomena behaving that, we will all go and see now. We are going to see about flame. Some substances burn with a flame while others burn without a flame. There are two types of flames are available. Number one is a luminous flame. Number two is a non-luminous flame. Now a yellow flame which produces heat an appreciable amount of light is called the luminous flame. It is produced by the incomplete combustion of a fuel when the availability of the air is insufficient. Now the next one is a non-luminous flame. It is a blue color flame which produces very little light, is called a non-luminous flame. It is obtained by the complete combustion of a fuel in the presence of adequate amount of air. Now I want you to observe this candle for 1 minute.
Sir.
Now can you see me how many flames are there in this candle? Now what is very important is actually a candle flame consists of how many zones? I want you to observe this complete part. This complete part you observe and see how many zones are there. Now if you see, a candle flame consists of 4 different zones. A non-luminous zone of complete combustion, luminous zone of incomplete combustion, dark zone, or which means a zone of no combustion, and the last one is a blue zone. So there are 4 zones of layer are there in the when you light a candle. Now non-luminous zone or a complete combustion, that is the outermost flame. The outermost zone of the flame is called the non-luminous zone. Complete combustion takes place here as the wax vapors and gets oxygen from the air, and it is in blue in color. This is the hottest zone and it is fairly visible. Now the second zone is called the luminous zone or the zone of the incomplete combustion. It is a pale yellow. I want you to see here, it is a pale yellow zone surrounding the zone of no combustion. Here the vapors cannot get enough oxygen from the air to burn completely. Some carbon particles are left unburned. These become white hot and make the flame yellow in color. Now there is called a dark zone or zone of no combustion. Around the wick there is a zone which is black in color. I want you to observe this part. Around the wick there is a zone which is black in color. So this is called a dark zone where there is no combustion, because in this area there is no oxygen is available. In this black zone there is no oxygen available for burning to take place. Now the last zone is called the blue zone. So near the bottom of the flame there is a zone of a blue color. This is called the blue zone. The blue color of this part of the flame is due to the burning of carbon monoxide gas, which is produced due to incomplete combustion of carbon particles. The flame of a burning matchstick is very similar to that of a candle, and the 4 zones can be seen it. If you burn a matchstick or if you light a candle, both remains the same. Now you know that the candle, actually the wax is here, the complete wax is there, and because of the action of a capillary action which is taking place inside this candle. Inside this candle you can see the wick is moving from the top to bottom. Because of the capillary action this is happening. So whether if you burn a candle or if you burn a matchstick, these zones are available. These are the different types of zones which are there when you burn a candle or when you are burning a matchstick. Extinguisher. This contains 3 important parts. Number 1, it is a container which has a sodium bicarbonate solution. Now inside that you have another one called bottle. Bottle has sulfuric acid and the knob, and this is the tube through which this one is going to come. When you press this one, the concentrated sulfuric acid reacts with the sodium bicarbonate and carbon dioxide is released. Now you see that when I am going to press this one, and the fumes will come through this, and this is how it is working. Now this is how it is working. In this chapter, combustion and fuel, I want you to take the greenhouse and its effect and the global warming. You can take it as a discussion, and maybe as a children what you can do, you can take this as a group activity. Very important, firefighting drilling in your school. So you ask your PT masters to help you out. Firefighting drill, how can you do inside your school, you can do. This is also a form of a group discussion you can find out. Now fuels, when you talk about fuel, these are renewable sources of fuel. Now the present day is of solar energy. And we are talking about solar energy. You know solar energy, that is alternative sources of energy. Energy from the sun, which is everlasting. Sun is burning for the last millions of years. The sun is keep on burning. And we came to know from the scientists it is going to burn in another billions of years also. Lot of energy, lot of curiosity is there to watch you to observe this solar energy. Now as children, do you think that how can you use this solar energy for our useful purposes? And if I am right, in Saudi Arabia, more than 4,000 villages are running because of solar energy. Now solar printing presses are available, solar cars are available nowadays, and solar panels are there. Solar panels are there to use to heat solar water heaters. Now we are going to talk about solar water heaters. If you see solar water heaters nowadays, you can see maximum number of schools, maximum number of houses, they are using solar water heaters. You know, solar water heaters heating produced because of solar energy. It is very important, it is absolutely free of cost, and they have used the solar panels in the top of the roof. These solar panels will absorb the solar energy from the sun during the daytime, and it is converted into a solar power. Now, whether we can use it, this solar energy in useful purposes, we need to think of. Now, the second thing you all should understand, how can you use wind energy? Now, of course, if you see in some of the places, now you can see a lot of windmills are there to use. These windmills, they are produce energy. You know, moving air is called the wind. Of course, the energy produced by the wind is very, very low. We can't use that much, but still, definitely we can use. These are the non-renewable sources of energy. So as a children, you can think, how can you help? How can you help the society free from all these problems, polluting atmosphere? Use more and more solar power, use more and more wind power energy, avoid wastage of electricity. What are things you can do that? After studying this lesson, if you are getting 100 marks in this lesson, do you think that you have done a great job? Never. What you can do after studying this lesson is very, very important. Save energy, save this environment. How can you save energy? In your home, don't waste energy. Switch off the lights when it is not required. Try to use pressure cooker and use biomass as a fuel rather than LPG. And if you have more number of vehicles in the house, some house we can see there are 2-3 cars are there. Reduce to 1 or 2, and more public transport system you can use it. Rather than using your own individual 2-3 cars, you can go travel by buses, you can go by train. Even our government also to bring that more and more public transport system to the country, so that what will happen, enough fuels can be saved and this atmosphere will be completely green. And if you think that you are getting a wonderful atmosphere, this universe will be clean, and that is the purpose of going to the school, and that is the purpose of studying combustion and fuel in science. And if you and me have done that job, then something that we have done to the society, by not only that we are scoring 100 marks in this concept, have we done something to the society which is very, very important. What we are going to do, try to import these type of concepts to everyone. Go and tell your friends, nearby your houses, go and tell the people what are the effects of these things, how to minimize this fuels, how can we improve, how can we use a lot of solar energy and other resources which are non-renewable sources of energy. We can use it in our daily life. Thank you.